from Relic and Civic Duty. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this little web moment we're having. How are you doing? Kim, go.
I'm doing great. Due to the circumstances, I'm trying to be very happy and positive, but overall doing good.
And Susan, I've been seeing your Instagram just blazing the trail. Talk to me about how you are doing and your team through all of this.
We are doing good. We are remarkably doing well. It has its moments. It ebbs and it flows. Sometimes it's a tsunami, and other times it feels pretty calm and under control. But we're doing good. And I actually am in process of making my first pot of pea soup ever. So it's all good.
That's
Loving being home.
Maybe a little something. The distance, drop it to my door. Thank you. Loder, how you doing, buddy, in the face of everything that's been going on?
My wife's 39 weeks pregnant as of 2 days ago. And I have a 2.5-year-old. So we've been under quarantine now not quarantine, isolation for 3 weeks now tomorrow. So with Megan being high risk, it's, there's been a lot of playtime, a lot of painting, a lot of crayons, a lot of cooking, a lot of organizing. It's been great, actually.
That's great. So I want to jump in and start off this first segment with a conversation around the future of, because, we all know what's going on very well in the day-to-day, and we can all imagine as viewers how that is affecting retail operations of every kind. And so I will ask you first, Susan, walk me through the first day in the last 3 weeks where you said to yourself, okay, this is a thing. This is actually going to have an impact on how we do our day-to-day. Walk me through sort of the moments and moods of that.
Well, it's kind of interesting, actually, Johnny, because it wasn't slammed. It wasn't a shock to the system. My business is 8 years old now, and I feel like we've had lots of challenges along the way regularly. And ironically, I've been reflecting on this, thinking it wasn't as hit me in the face as I thought it would. And so for myself and my team, it was kind of a gradual, slow ebbing into it every single day, kind of figuring it out. So we're small, so and we've been, I feel like, always trying to push the envelope on how we're doing things. And we have obviously massive competition with online all the time and different ways to do things. So we've been kind of evolving our business along the way to sort of suit what that environment looks like. So we just did a slow burn every single day team, talk about it. And what I will say is the full team were completely on board. We can do this. We can do this. So as of right now, we are still fully operating. I have my full team still employed, and we have just, for some miraculous reason, been ticking through, mind you, at reduced hours and reduced revenues. So that's what it's looked like for us.
Thank you so much. Jon, likewise for you, who is going through an exciting update to your two entities in the same sort of building as is, what has been going through your mind in terms of opportunity? I'll throw it to you.
Well, I was just about to combine Civic Duty and Relic for many reasons. So just kind of, for me, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a bit of messaging for my customer at the end of it, because now when I open back up, I'm going to be one store. And I had planned on phasing that in through different ways, but now it's just going to kind of be thrust upon people, which I think there are pros and cons in. I'm very excited about reopening up, very excited about seeing the two spaces work together. Civic Duty looks awesome down there right now, so I'm excited for people to see it.
That's awesome. Very cool. And Kim, you just went through your own big move of Whink, one of your 3, actually, forgive me, entities, also Sparks Design, which handcrafts the most unbelievable Labradorite jewelry, custom, one of a kind. You think I know the key message today?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, having just done a move into a new space yourself, talk about sort of what you guys have been doing in terms of thinking about the future of how you do what you do in that showroom.
Yeah, so I think like Susan's point, evolving and all that kind of stuff, and we have been in that space almost 2 years now in Churchill Square. So I think the biggest thing, if anything, it's really pushed me to be more present online, have a much better online presence. So with COVID, I mean, it was kind of that slow thing that I knew that was kind of coming, and we took every day as we could. But again, with retail, I mean, if there's nobody coming through your doors, I mean, the answer is you're gonna have to close the door regardless. But for me, I mean, I really just kind of stepped up to the plate, and now I'm just working at putting everything online and just pushing so much through our social media channels right now.
Kim, do you think your background as a designer, marketer comes in handy every minute of every day these days?
Like every second right now. And it's so funny because, as you kind of grow, and like Whink is 10 years old now. And I mean, at the beginning of your business, you're living, eating, breathing it. And then as it grows, you kind of step back and you're working more on it. And now it's just like thrown right back in. Like, I feel like I'm in year one again, which is also really positive in a way, because it makes you look at retail and your business and, what your customers' needs are, what they want, what they're looking for. So I've been kind of finding that pretty exciting and enjoying every second of it. So.
I think that's amazing. So I want to actually take this opportunity to congratulate you three, first of all, in your businesses for making sure that it's not just off island that comes up in there, that you allocate space for the local makers. And I think that is something that more retail-based business owners should take on as a responsibility, not just an opportunity. So Susan, I'll ask you first, when it comes to the type of products you carry at Sam Design that are locally made, do you feel a responsibility to help those products get out as well as the mainstay items that Sam is famous for?
100%. And that's something that, we've tried hard to curate over the years. And interestingly, in terms of retail, like you, Jon, we were doing some changes. We have a space next door. I own 2 buildings. And so ironically, just 2 weeks before this happened, local company Salt signed a lease to take the space next door. And so, and they're, still really, really, confident and excited about all the opportunities. But for me, that was the thinking around there, was how to curate some people in my local neighborhood who had synergetic businesses, who really kind of believed in the same thing and who could help each other. And so we were full on in process of that. And I'm excited to get back to that, because obviously what they're doing in the local market is amazing. And while, their things aren't obviously sold through our retail distribution because they're a clothing line, still the synergetic opportunities are there. So, but that's always been part of our game plan. And I suspect more than ever we'll continue to do that. And, that's the exciting piece. And I think that community, and we've always, all of us see this kind of each other community, and it's just really heartwarming to see it. And I think that that's going to be a win out of this too.
Loder, you at Civic Duty and at Relic are very much in the forefront of business owners who are pushing the collab vibe, and that is taking artists and purveyors and makers and putting them together for cool swag and limited runs of aesthetic that I think is really hot. Do you think that's only going to heat up more on your watch now that we are moving into the future of what we do here?
Definitely. I think that one of the big drivers of retail when it reopens is going to be buying things that are based around your community, people who live around you, supporting those. I think this is opening people's eyes up to the things that people are doing around them and how reliant we've become on shipping things in from away. So I think a lot more. I think people are going to be more concentrated with their dollars to look at helping people around the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, Kim, I wouldn't be sad to see a little Whink Civic Duty collab. She's been cool.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
I saw that Sam swag with little cool hats. Loder, were you behind that? Don't tell me. I'll go to the break, back in a second. This Out of the Fog, the future of retail, 3 wicked owners of local businesses, and I can't wait to ask more questions soon. We'll be right back.
You said it played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
We're the generation that had it all. We're the generation that had the music and the moves. We're the generation that had a dream. We came together to feed the world's children. We came together to protect them. And in this dangerous world, we have to keep on saving them and protecting them, even when we're gone. If we remember UNICEF in our will, we'll be the generation who left a better world for children. Please visit uniceflegacy.ca.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the second segment in our episode that we're having via the interwebs. As you can see, joined by the amazing Kim Paddon from Whink, Sparks Design, Newfoundland Weavery. We have Susan Drover, an interior designer and owner of furniture showroom Sam Design, and Jonathan Loder from Civic Duty and from Relic, who have been one of the fashion-forward people pushing it all from downtown for, geez, I'd say almost 20 years. Eh? When did you first come in from good old Gander to start dealing in fashion? Loder, tell me all about it.
Oh, God. I moved here 2003. Worked at the bank for 3 years before fashion became my call to fame. Yeah.
That's wicked. Susan, what
I've
were you
been down
doing
on Water
before
Street
interior
now
design?
for 13 years.
13 years? Wow. That's amazing. Seems like yesterday. Susan, talk about life before design and fashion and furniture.
I was an investment advisor, which, so I'm an economics background. So I'm kind of, the news for me is all over the place. I'm seeing it from every different side. So that was my background before I went back to do design and open my business 8 years ago.
That's amazing. And Kim, I mean, from design school right into owning your business, anything in between? What's that? Like, talk about that.
Yeah, so I guess I started out, I was a graphic designer, and I was living away in New Brunswick, and found an opportunity to come home. I actually worked at Flower Studio for a while, and just a business opportunity kind of came into my life, and I went with it, and then that's where Whink started.
That's amazing. Entrepreneurial roots, which is amazing. Susan, growing up, anyone in your life own or run businesses?
Well, I know you know the story of my business, but Sam was my father's name, and I grew up in Bayvert, and he was an amazing entrepreneur, and sadly he was killed in a car accident when my oldest daughter was just born. And so I grew up around entrepreneurial, community-minded family, and naming my business after him was just a way to kind of keep that at the forefront every single day. So
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And Jon, growing up and coming into the city, any entrepreneurial roots? Anyone take you under their wing? What was your backdrop?
My dad's a carpenter by trade and owned his own construction company and stuff as a kid. So grew up doing a lot of that with him. And then, excuse me, he made me, well, not made me, kind of encouraged me to go to business school so I didn't have to swing a hammer for a living. So here we are.
Boom. I like to ask that question because I think it's interesting to viewers and to people who we think may know our story but actually don't know, to have a little bit more of a lens of who we are as people and not just business owners that you see in the shops or online from day to day. I think it's important. What do you guys think?
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Very important.
I agree.
Very important, yeah.
My uncle owned a chip store on the corner of Blacklow Avenue in Monday Pond. So that's my luxurious foray into entrepreneurialism. Thank you so much. I want to jump into the conversation. What'd you say, Suze?
I was just going to say, I think so many of our values as business owners come from our backgrounds and our families and where we came from. And, you know, like we're, you know, trying to bring those forth all the time. So that's just my thought on that.
I love that. I want to talk about online, web, which are at this moment a major way that you are able to sell. And so I'm going to talk to you, Kim, first. Talk to me about the responsibility and how you are showing up online more to sell more, and how's that working for you?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we've always had a web store, but as you guys can imagine, with jewelry having thousands of pieces, it's really time consuming to put everything online. But I think right now it's really, really important because a lot of customers are missing being able to go walk into Whink, or, you know, missing going into Sam or Civic Duty or Relic. So bringing the store experience in a in an online presence is, I think, really, really important. And it's also important now too, because everybody really wants to support local. And like Susan mentioned before, we are in that community and everybody's supporting one another. And I think our customers really, really, really feel that now more than ever. And I know we had a touch of that when we had Snowmageddon, but I think now it's even more critical. And a lot of people see that. And I think it's going to be really good going forward.
That's amazing. Susan, talk about how your online efforts are paying off in terms of giving more attention and being more specific around the products of the day and the lines of the day that I think people are needing more tangible understanding of as us as vendors in terms of how we promote what we got. So how are you rising to that challenge? How's it working?
Well, interestingly, like Kim, we've had an online store, and thanks to Jon for helping me with the selection of how we were going to use that platform, by the way, a couple of years ago. So, but interesting, we have an online store, and my first thought was, okay, when we slow down, we're just going to spend all our time updating our website, and that was a hard no from my team, a hard stop no. They said, nope, that's not what we're going to do, or it's going to be our social media game, and that's how we're going to do it. We're going to use our website, obviously, and we'll update that, and we'll take some time because we'll have extra time and make sure that's strong. So that's the route that we've gone. Interestingly, a lot of our, and Don-E, you and I talked about this kind of ahead of this, I think supply chain is hugely important, and online is not new as competition for any of us, but a lot of our suppliers that we've curated have been Canadian suppliers, and having strong suppliers is going to be really key. But they also have online presence, so they're actually competitors to me as well too. So one of the challenges is trying to make sure that that's an even playing field, especially geographically, living in Newfoundland and cost being more expensive. So we've just trying to use that philosophy to help us sell and make sure that we've got the right people on the bus with us that are not going to shut us out of that experience. So website long-term, social media game short-term, social media way more fun, way more able to engage people, way more responsive.
If I could, just to go down further, the pillow day, and I forgive me for calling it pillow day. Like every day on Sam's Insta, it's like, here are 13 wicked products from a specific type of furniture that you may like, from mirrors today, I think it was, or yesterday, to pillows the day before. And it was so fun because, like, we're popping into the gram, we're flicking through our vids, let's like keep it real, right? So at the end of the day, I went in, I was like, oh my God, they sold all the pillows. I wanted the most. Like, I missed my chance. And all of a sudden, I was like, whoa.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to Miss Ellen Squires on that, who's our store manager. She's rocking it. She is awesome.
She is amazing. Yeah, you are a lucky lady to have Ellen up in there because she is a boss.
Oh, that's that.
Loder, talk about how you guys are putting up items and how you're keeping engaged with people via your channels and what you're noticing during these times.
Yeah, so we've always had a website. We do a lot of shopping through Instagram and stuff as well. I got laid off my staff. Was the best option for everybody involved. So I'm starting to find out that navigating my online portal myself has been a challenge and really good for me to brush up my skills. But yeah, we're just trying to concentrate on the things that people are, everybody's at home sitting on their couch watching TV. We've been posting a lot of things about cozy clothing and sweatpants and stuff, the things that people are going to use right now. For me, it's about going down to the store. I've been very limited in my time out of the house, but when I get the chance to go down to the store, it's just kind of packaging things together that, tell a story to people or things that they might actually want right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Talk about products under your respective umbrellas. You just hit it, talking about, having some swag jogging pants on the go for your 24-hour life that we're living. I'm wearing them right now.
Me too.
You're wearing jogging pants. Yeah. Who's in like straight up leisure wear right now? Like, I'll just
100%.
Can we wear a Sully turtleneck with pajama bottoms? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. That's amazing. I want you guys to tell me some things about your businesses that the average walk in and walk out of your store customer watching this episode wouldn't know? I can think of 13 things each, but I'll ask you first. Susan, what is something about Sam Design that you wish people knew more about outside of the walk in, walk out, take a look at your furniture on the floor?
Well, we've never really been an inventory-based business. So we've always been curate things that we love and the philosophy that's trying to match products that we curate with how people want to live their life. So in actual fact, it hasn't changed a whole lot. You've never really been able to come into Sam and buy things off the floor, even though we're, with the exception of accessories. And while we're doing a little tiny bit of that now to accommodate some people, it's always been we change it up and we curate it, and so you can buy things when we're changing it up. So it hasn't, our business model actually has allowed us to pivot into this fairly quickly. We've been, a lot of our businesses do consultations, and then we make mood boards, digital mood boards, and we share them, and we, maybe we show you fabrics and those things. So we have just been looking at digital meetings and consultations, and it's actually been working. It's been working well. And back to employees, Janelle has been a rock star on that, and it's been easy for her to transition into that. So I guess for us, the thing that people probably don't know is you can still shop and we can still accommodate and do those types of things, and you actually don't have to go into our store, and you probably never have had to before unless you need to physically sit on something or see it.
I guess that's what makes you different as a furniture showroom versus a regular furniture store, is that you're constantly bringing things and curating. It's never the same showroom, and you don't got 13 of those couches out back. You bring them in specifically for the context of the interior design services that you do most of for residential and commercial.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Loder. People walk in, they see the beautiful swag and the cool brands and all of this, and they walk out. What are they not knowing about the other lines of service that you provide?
Yeah, so I do a lot of work with other businesses in town. Susan just mentioned, consulting them with branding ideas or infrastructure, how to sell things to market. I'm always, down for a new project. We do a lot of clothing for breweries and restaurants, places like that. I just like to stress, or not so much stress, because this is not exactly a stressful time sitting home in our pajamas, but Civic Duty and Relic have something for everybody. And I think that a lot of people maybe are afraid to walk in through the door sometimes because they're not sure that it's for them. But we actually do have products there for men, women from ages 5 to 75.
I love it. Kim, where do we start with the 3 different entities? But they're all related to our jewelry and things and crafts. So what do people walking in and out of any of your stores maybe not realize that is something that you are proud of, that you do every day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Whink and Weavery is supporting craft and supporting our local artisans in Newfoundland and especially Labrador. Whink is known for pink and glitter and fun, and you can pop in and get a gift. But we really, I really try and get a lot of local artists. I try to support them. I do a lot of mentoring with them on how they can get their product ready for a retail store like Whink or the Newfoundland Weavery. But I think the biggest thing is supporting those artists now is so much more important. Well, it's always been important, but more important now. And I think that's just going to be going forward, one of the things that we really, really need to do. So yeah.
I love it. Well, guys, I'll tell you what, we're at the end of our hang. I could talk to y'all all day, but I'll tell you what, it's a nice day now just to kick back and to get those pajamas back on if you're not wearing them. Monday is coming. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on this and talking about the future of retail. To me, the takeaway items from this chat are leaning more into digital, making things more experiential, and potentially driving more of a longer loyalty to what we do by trying to get people to jump into joining our mailing lists and our newsletters and hitting our website and being more a part of us digitally while they can't necessarily jump in at this moment physically. Is that about right?
You got it.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Until then, you'll see their titles and how you can follow these amazing folks online on their channels. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Jon.
All right, guys.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Good evening, 007.
Tell me what you know of James Bond.
You'll light the fuse on any explosive situation.
Got your attention.
007 License to Kill.
Is this really what you want? Living in the shadows? Always alone?
I don't stop to think about it.
Monsieur de Champlain, when I finish paddling through this wilderness and reach China, I shall greet them wearing this.
Monsieur Nicolet, your mission shall be for the honor of the king and the Holy Faith.
In the summer of 1634, Jean Nicolet set off from Quebec to find a trade